Welcome to the Politicrat. I'm Omar Moore. It is Friday, August the 7th, 2020. On this episode of the Politicrat, a simple question. Why did people vote for Donald Trump in 2016? That, plus two more states on the Voter Information Series, coming up right after this. President Barack Obama left the White House on January the 20th, 2017. But before that, going back to October of 2016, the economy was doing well. There was no recession. There was an improvement in jobs. The unemployment rate was low. And Hillary Clinton was in the last legs of her presidential campaign. Donald Trump had an Access Hollywood tape released, and it was released just 2 days before a debate. It was a tape that many thought would absolutely sink him. It did the opposite. It seemed to rally more people around him. Why would people vote for Donald Trump in the first place? Why would people do that? Well, it seems very clear to me that one reason why they would do it is because they are misogynist, is because they hated Hillary Clinton for whatever reason they would give you. And it seems very clear to me, with everything you knew about Donald Trump, even in 2015 and 16, is that you knew he was racist. The things he said on the very first day he announced his campaign for president. When he said the racist things he said about Mexicans. Even if you hadn't known about his and his father's racial discrimination against black people who were trying to rent in his properties in New York in the 1970s. Even if you hadn't known about the comments he'd made about black people. Even if you hadn't seen the ad from 1989 in many national and local newspapers about bring back the death penalty, bring back our police, regarding the 5 boys who were innocent in the attack on a jogger in Central Park. Even if you hadn't known any of those things, the accusations of rape made against him by his wife, who said that Donald Trump raped her. You knew that he said what he said on that Hollywood tape, that Access Hollywood tape. You knew what he said about Mexicans. So obviously, you, whomever this applies to, or anyone else who voted for Donald Trump in 2016, were racist, are racist, and are misogynist. 53% of white women who voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Most of those women who voted, those white women, were suburban white women, affluent, living in the suburbs, had a good job, had children, were over the age of 30, 35 or and above. 53%. There are women who are misogynist themselves. There are women who buy into the patriarchy of male hierarchy and male dominance and misogyny and toxic masculinity. There are some women that are very attracted to those kinds of things. There are women who like to be dominated in that way, and I'm not talking about anything to do with the bedroom at all. That's a whole nother story. Although maybe some of you may think that it's not a whole different story. Maybe it's tied together somehow. But what I'm talking about is a mindset. It is an attraction to power. It is an attraction to power. They say that power is an aphrodisiac. And there are women of all backgrounds who are, in one sense or another, very attracted to that. Just like there are men who are. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze here, but I am trying to put on the table a mindset. Put on the table to people listening a mindset about those who would vote for somebody who has shown such utter contempt for women, for black people, for Asians, for Latinx, for gay and transgender people, and anyone else except really himself. Why would you turn around and vote for that? Do not tell me that it's economic anxiety. I don't buy that. Economic anxiety. Oh, please. Economic anxiety is the reason? Hillary Clinton was offering you a lot better. You can't tell me that economic anxiety was the reason when the economy was doing very well when Obama left office. He had steered that ship that George W. War Criminal Bush had left. That mess. And it took Obama and his team, which included Joe Biden, years just to get out of that mess. And President Obama was obstructed on almost every single turn. And at almost every single turn. By the Grim Reaper, Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch. I don't buy this thing about, well, Obama was the first black man and Obama's the reason why Donald Trump is here. That's garbage. Obama's not the reason why Donald Trump got into the White House. That's just garbage. The system is the reason why Donald Trump got into the White House. The system was set up and designed for this kind of thing to happen. You had an electoral college rooted in enslavement that still had not been abandoned or abolished. You had foreign governments assisting, helping Donald Trump because nobody in Congress and no one thought in politics, well, we might need an amendment to strengthen voting in this country. We might need some kind of law to protect elections. No one thought of that. The Help America Vote Act by George war criminal Bush was a disaster. That helped make it easier for Republicans to steal your vote. This is the system working perfectly. The system worked perfectly. You had a Supreme Court decision, speaking of a system, in 2010 called Citizens United against Clinton, no less. That was the Supreme Court case. And that case ruled that unlimited sums of money can come in. I'm just paraphrasing the decision. And there's no restriction on it. This is speech and you can come on down. Which meant that anybody from anywhere, quite frankly from around the world, could contribute money. All these super PACs and all this other stuff. Which meant the Russians could pour money in. All these people could pour money in to Donald Trump's campaign. And you could get Cambridge Analytica and Facebook and all this stuff happen. You can get all of this. It's all an outflow from the 2010 wretched Supreme Court decision. They've made a load of those over the years. They've made some good ones, but the history of this country is littered with terrible, terrible United States Supreme Court decisions. So the system is working perfectly. Barack Obama is not the reason why Donald Trump came into office. That is just nonsense. In fact, quite frankly, that's racist. And not only is it racist, it is dishonest. The system was the reason why Donald Trump got into power, and racists, among other people, and misogynists, among other people, and voter suppression, amongst other things, by the Republican Party, and the foreign assistance, amongst other things, was the reason why Donald Trump got into power. Not to mention a terribly run campaign by the strategists of Hillary Clinton and the choices that that campaign made for their candidate. Not to mention that Hillary Clinton had a lot of baggage, and not to mention that there were a lot of people who did not like Hillary Clinton for a number of reasons. And not to mention, as I said, misogyny on the part of a great many voters also played a role. Even so, Hillary Clinton got 65.9 million votes. 65.8 million roughly. So let's just round it up. 66 million votes. Donald Trump got 63 million votes. It was 62.9. Rounded up to 63. But it was where he got those votes. And that's what propelled him to the Electoral College. And the Clinton campaign, for the second time, was a sloppy campaign. Just not run well. The messaging was not good. The vice presidential pick was not good. Which is why next week now, hopefully, next week, Joe Biden will finally announce his VP pick. And it's going to be a whole lot better than Tim Kaine. Trust me. That is a guarantee. We are expecting either the name of Kamala Harris to be the one announced, or the name of Ambassador Susan Rice to be announced. I am expecting the latter. I've been writing about it. I've spoken about it on this podcast. please don't sit here and say, don't ever let anybody get away with telling you that the reason that Donald Trump came to power was Barack Obama. I'm not going to let anybody get away with saying that in my presence, because it's absolutely untrue. That is a very easy way of avoiding a voter's racist impulses, a white voter's racist impulses, and black voters who are misguided and misogynist. The 13% of black men who voted for Donald Trump. That's right, 13%. How on earth does that happen? Black men, 13% of you voted for this racist? Really? I think some of that is because those black men not only are misogynist, but they do not care about themselves. They do not care about what Donald Trump says about them. And they want to live out a fantasy. Because I think some of these voters who voted in terms of the black men, and this applies to white men as well, the 67% of them who voted for Donald Trump last time. I think what that is about in terms of black men is this fantasy. They want to project themselves onto Donald Trump, and they want to live vicariously. They want to live the life that Donald Trump is living. That's what I think some of that is. They want to romanticize Donald Trump. And they see him as some kind of badass outlaw. And that turns them on. That turns some of these women on who vote for him. They want so desperately to be free. And they see this guy in a bizarre way as some kind of symbol of freedom. I can do what I want. I can say racist things. I can say misogynist things. I can commit crime in the open and put it out there in your face. Ooh, isn't that so sexy? That's a mindset that a certain portion of this country has. Some of those women who voted for him, some of those black men who voted for him, and a lot of those white men who voted for him. There are rappers, the black men who are rapping, some of those rappers in particular, who romanticize Donald Trump and have been doing so for over 30 years in lyrics. Now, there are some who do not romanticize him and rightly condemn him in their music. And there are some rappers like Eminem who have as well. There are some rappers like Snoop Dogg who have as well. I know that. So I'm not saying every black male person who's rapping. And Eminem, of course, is a white male, and he has in no uncertain terms denounced Donald Trump in his music. So has Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg has absolutely done that. He even had an album cover, I think, that suggested, I don't know if it suggested, but there was an album cover and he got a lot of heat for it because it essentially, I don't know, said that Donald Trump had a photo of some clown that looked like Trump or something, and he was lying dead or something. And there was a video that he did a few years back, and some people got upset, some of these Republicans. So there are certainly people who are in the rap community, the hip-hop community, who are against Donald Trump. But I think some of this vote for Donald Trump, this nonsense in 2016, was not just about, oh, we want to change. I don't buy that. Why do you want to change from an administration that was bringing jobs back, an administration that was doing some good things? It wasn't perfect for a long shot. I had a big problem with the foreign policy. And in fact, even with Susan Rice, who I have championed here, you know, she has some foreign policy issues, to say the least. And those are her negatives, actually. I may have not really emphasized that a few episodes ago, but she does have some. The issue in this country is nobody cares about Libya. That's the problem in America. Nobody cares beyond their own city or state that they live in, or the country they live in, if you're lucky. Oh, of course, come on, some people do. But the average person does not. The average person cannot find Libya on a map. Let's have it absolutely right here. Nobody in this country cares about Libya. And that's a sad thing. It should not be that way. We are and have been socialized to believe that we are the only thing that matters. And to a certain extent, this is something that is true in a great many countries, particularly in the West, particularly in Europe, particularly here in the United States. We are the only game in town. So therefore, who cares about the rest of the world? I mean, we are arrogant enough to have in Major League Baseball the World Series. It's so arrogant. The World Series, and there's only really 2 countries. That's not a World Series. And we're world champions. When you win the baseball title, you call yourself world champions when it's only the United States and Canadian baseball teams that get to play this Major League Baseball World Series. I mean, that's how arrogant we are. And how short-sighted we are. I mean, if it was a World Series, wouldn't you be having more than 2 countries? Wouldn't you have countries from all over the globe and not just in the Americas? But we're world champions. And it's that kind of thinking that leads people to vote for a Donald Trump. But the other reason why people voted for him is because the media told you to vote for him. Can't leave the news media out of this. The news media, for the better part of not just the 5 years from 2015 onwards, but from the 1980s onward, have been championing Donald Trump and grooming him and calling him the Donald and all of this. It's been a 40-year operation. They've aided and abetted a man who has failed upwards. A white man who has failed upwards. Why would you vote for Donald Trump? Why did you vote for him in 2016? To those of you this applies to, why did you vote for Donald Trump in 2016? Why?
Donald Trump is 74 years old and he has never faced any consequences. When Donald Trump was called to serve in Vietnam, his powerful father used his money to buy his privileged son 5 separate deferments. But what about the kids who weren't rich? And what poor kids without a rich father had to take Donald Trump's place 5 times on the battlefield? When Donald Trump Trump repeatedly lied to the American people about the coronavirus,
I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear.
deliberately spreading lies that caused over 155,000 Americans to die agonizing deaths alone. Not one single doctor ever stood up in the White House briefing room and had the courage to say, "Do not listen to the president. He is lying to you." Instead, they praised him.
He's been so attentive to the scientific literature and the details and the data.
When Donald Trump bragged on camera about sexually assaulting women, it should have immediately ended his presidential campaign and he should have faced criminal charges. But instead, his third wife, so desperate to be the first lady, rushed to cover for him.
I know how some men talk. They were kind of a boy talk.
When Donald Trump had multiple bankruptcies, he should have lost his businesses and suffered the same consequences everyone else would have. But instead, corrupt banks like Deutsche Bank stepped in to rescue him, perpetuating the false image that Trump was rich and successful. When Donald Trump cheated on his wife and had unprotected sex with porn stars, his daughter refused to even say it was wrong.
I think it's a pretty inappropriate question to ask a daughter.
When it was revealed that Vladimir Putin had put bounties on the heads of U.S. soldiers and that Donald Trump knew about it and did nothing to defend the United States, he should have been impeached and removed from office. But instead, his army of enablers defended him. Time and time again, people have stepped in and covered for Donald Trump. For 74 years, Donald Trump has gotten away with one crime after another. But on November 3rd, you can take away Donald Trump's power. And when he's not President Trump, he will have to face charges for the crimes he's committed. On November 3rd, you're the jury in the case of the people versus Donald Trump. It's up to you.
It is up to you. That was an excellent ad. I think it's the best ad on Donald Trump so far, the best ad against him. It's a compelling ad and you should watch it. I have retweeted it on my Twitter page at the Popcorn REEL. It's an ad that was made by Don Winslow, the author and filmmaker. He's a tremendous filmmaker and author. Don Winslow's on Twitter as well. You can find him at Don Winslow. That's Don, W-I-N, as in Nancy, S-L-O-W. Don Winslow. Very, very good ad. It's the best one out there. And the hashtag for the ad is consequences for Trump. And the reason why that ad is the best ad against Donald Trump that I have seen thus far is because it lays out from start to finish the fraud that Donald Trump is and the enablers who enable him. I think those are the two biggest reasons why that ad, among other reasons, and you should really watch the ad. Why it's such an important ad. This guy is a complete fraud. He is an example of a white man failing upwards. This isn't about Barack Obama, the reason why Donald Trump got in. Oh, Donald Trump wouldn't have been possible without Barack Obama. Bull crap. Bull crap. This happens so often, every single day so often, in the United States and around the world. White men failing upward. Some of them are mediocre, some of them are substandard, and some of them are frauds and criminals, like Donald Trump. And no, I'm not saying that every single white man ever born, every single white male ever born fails upward. No, there are white men and white males who actually do work hard and actually do rise by working hard. But come on, there are so many white men who absolutely, by virtue of being white and male and having contacts and people who move them up the chain, there's so many like that who fail upward. Oh, you bankrupted a casino? Oh, here's another $2 million for you. This ain't about Obama. This is about a system. This is about a system that protects, preserves, and defends white male dominance. Not white supremacy, because there's nothing supreme about all of this. It is ugly and evil and racist, and it is pathological. There's nothing supreme about the history of the United States when it comes to Native Americans and black people and brown people. This ad by Don Winslow is a very good ad because it lays bare just how naked this emperor is. This fake emperor. He is a grifter and a criminal. He should be behind bars. And the reason why he's shouting, "Henny penny, the sky is falling," is because he knows the second he leaves office, January the 20th, 2021 at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, he is going to be indicted. And he's going to be led away in handcuffs. That is not being said on the news media very often. It's not being said at all in the corporate news media. Yeah, there's stories about Deutsche Bank, and they're complying with the subpoena. Yeah, you've heard that, but you haven't heard anybody explicitly say that he's going to be led away in handcuffs. Because they all know it. They know it's true. You will hear that on progressive news media, though. You'll hear Randy Rhoads say it. You'll hear Tom Hartman say it. You'll hear people like Amy Goodman talk about it on Democracy Now! But that ad by Don Winslow is a must. Please watch that ad. Again, you can find it on my Twitter page at the Popcorn REEL from Thursday, August 6th. That's when I tweeted that ad out. You can also find it on Don Winslow's Twitter page. He's the one who made the ad. It's an excellent ad. The best ad I've seen, period. Because, again, it delineates everything. You can go to Don Winslow's Twitter page at Don, W-I-N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, L-O-W. And you can watch it there. He's done a number of these ads. This is by far not only his best ad, but the best ad against Trump anywhere so far. Because this is really who the guy is. What Don Winslow has done has absolutely put together, with words and pictures and archival footage and Donald Trump's own words, has put together a real masterclass here in advertising, in telling you just how much of not only a failure he is, but how toxic and dangerous he is, and exposing the enablers, family members and others who enable this. That's what got Donald Trump into power. Then that is, when you say that Obama's the reason that Donald Trump got in, then what you're doing is absolving the racism and the misogyny and the chicanery of a system and the toxic nature of a system that is working the way it's supposed to work. You're completely ignoring that. You're conveniently ignoring that. And don't tell me, oh, well, it was because Obama made a joke about Donald Trump to his face at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. No. This guy had designs on running for president prior to that. He was going to announce a few years before. This isn't about Obama. Don't get into that nonsense. Don't fall for that crap. Again, as I was saying before the break, the news media enabled Donald Trump and have done for 40 years. They gave Donald Trump $5 billion of free air. You can find that in CBS News Market Watch. You can go and search that. Gave him free advertising. Gave him empty podia. You can see the empty podia that they shot of him in numerous campaign rallies before he even got there. They had a live camera on an empty podium where you could see his text, his text number was on there. Text blah, blah, blah to Trump. I mean, they advertised it. The media advertised for this guy. Donald Trump was part of the media. He was at NBC. He had an exclusive contract with NBC, pretty much. NBC Universal. Before it became Comcast. And now he slanders Comcast. Now he says all this juvenile stuff about Comcast. Because NBC jettisoned Donald Trump. They fired him from his contract in The Apprentice and all. Don't forget, millions of you watched Donald Trump on The Apprentice. You enabled him too. Did you vote for him? Les Moonves, the sexual assaulter and predator and harasser, he formerly the CEO of CBS. Do you remember? I mean, do you all remember what he had to say about Donald Trump just a few short years ago? Have you forgotten? I mean, have you forgotten what Les Moonves said about Donald Trump? Well, let me remind you. Should I? Shall I? Let me remind you about Les Moonves, no longer the CBS CEO. And I want to thank Ronan Farrow for doing the great reporting that he did on the violence and sexual harassment that Les Moonves doled out to female employees at CBS while he was there as the CEO. Here's what Les Moonves had to say. In February of 2016, during a conference call to investors here in San Francisco, let me remind you about what he had to say. Speaking of enablers.
Man, who would have expected the ride we're all having right now? This is pretty amazing, and, who would have thought that this circus would come to town? But, it may not be good for America, but it's damn good for CBS. That's all I got to say. So, what can I say? It's, the money's rolling in, and this is... polls are open. This is fun. We had a debate a couple of weeks ago with 14 million people on a Saturday night. It's amazing. That's all I can say.
Do you look at the Trump phenomenon as impacting ad spend? Because while he's got lots of money, he's got a lot of free media as well.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of free media, but all that's happening out there's a lot of money in the marketplace. There's a lot of money in the marketplace, and sure, is Donald, they're not even talking about issues. They're throwing bombs at each other, and I think the advertising reflects that. Most of the ads are not about issues. They're sort of like the debates. They're saying he did this or he did that. It doesn't say what I stand for. It's, it is, I've never seen anything like this, and, this is going to be a very good year for us. Sorry. It's a terrible thing to say, but bring it on, Donald. Go ahead. Keep going. Don't write. Somebody, I said that at another investor conference, and the next day some blog put out, Moonves supporting Trump wholeheartedly. I said, no. I'm not taking it aside. I'm just saying, for us, economically, Donald's place in this election is a good thing.
CBS is ahead of John Trump.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying. Got it.
Yeah, that was Les Moonves in 2016, February of that year. The same year, of course, that the election took place. Economically for us, Donald in this race is a good thing. Now look, you are taking sides. He is taking sides. He absolutely is taking sides. He wants Donald Trump in the race, so he is taking sides. Oh, economically, it's good for us. Well, yeah. Well, if he's not in the race, it's not good for you economically. So you are taking sides. You want him in the race, which is why you, and you admitted this, there's a lot of free media, gave him, you and NBC and CNN and everybody else, ABC, gave Donald Trump $5 billion of free air. I've still got the video and the pictures of his podium, his empty podium with his name on it and the text number to text to. Don't use Obama as the reason. That's cowardly. Why did you vote for Donald Trump if this applies to you? Why? Why did you vote for him in 2016? I guess the other question is, are you going to vote for him again? Knowing what you know in 2020? Knowing what you know right now on August 7th, 2020? Are you going to vote for him again? Welcome back. Now, I did talk about rappers. I did not mention Kanye West, because what's happening with Kanye West and the way that Donald Trump is behaving with Kanye West is a disgrace. And these Republicans, it's a total disgrace. Donald Trump once said to black people, "What have you got to lose?" Well, everything, including your life. I'm sure he was also addressing that question to Herman Cain. Now this question of what have you got to lose? Your vote? Your life? I think those are two very clear answers. And now Kanye West is being used. Kanye West admits that he is supposedly running for president to get black men, 13% of whom voted for Donald Trump last time, to vote for him again. See, black women are not going to fall for this foolishness. Yeah, you'll find a few black women who support Trump. You'll find the Candace Owens of the world and the relative of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who's running for Congress down in Georgia. You'll find her. She's running for John Lewis's seat, by the way. My goodness. You'll find her, and you'll find a few black women, very, very few, who are out there actively supporting Donald Trump. I get it. You'll find a few more black men than that. But most black women are not going to fall for this crap. They didn't last time. 97% of black women who voted for Hillary Rodham Clinton in 2016. 97%. Black women are not going for this. Which is why you've got Kanye West being used by Republicans who are taking advantage of a man who has some deep, serious mental issues. Deep depression, all kinds of things. His mental health and his depression is being played out publicly. And though I have criticized him, and he deserves to be criticized, doesn't excuse his comments about black people, about Harriet Tubman as one of those black people, and about black people supposedly, slavery was a choice. That's not going to, the fact that he has mental illness and is depressed doesn't excuse those comments. It may give some people the rationale to say, well, this is the outgrowth of it. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But those comments are not going to go unchallenged or unresponded to. What have you got to lose? 162,000 people dead in the United States from coronavirus. And I'm sure that number is a well underestimate number. I think it's 2 or 3 times that many. A virus this deadly and this contagious, I've said many times that it's surely more people dead from this virus. And the guy who's in the White House has done nothing but lie, confuse, and gaslight you to your death. Oh, don't wear a mask. You don't have to do that. Then he suddenly wears them when he needs to for his own purposes, his selfish ends. I want to have 4 more years in the White House, so I'll put one on now. My numbers, my ratings. I mean, this is a very underdeveloped human being that you're following. And that's why Kanye West is being used and abused, quite frankly, by the Republicans. Oh, let's get him on the ballot here, get him on the ballot there. Well, I think anybody of any race, of any group, any self-respecting person will realize that a vote for Kanye West is a vote for Donald Trump. And to those 13% of black men who voted for Donald Trump in 2016, I really think it's time that you woke up and reevaluated your vote from 4 years ago and turn around, register to vote, spread the word on registration, check your voter registration, and make sure you do not make the mistake of voting for Donald Trump again. Make sure you vote for Joe Biden. No write-ins, no third parties. Joe Biden. That goes for anybody listening to this. No write-ins, no third parties, no staying home and not doing anything. You can vote by mail. You can vote in person. When it comes to the presidency, make sure you vote for Joe Biden. When it comes to the Senate, when it comes to any race, make sure you vote Democratic. Welcome back. Tonight's the night. Friday, August the 7th, 2020, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Join me, yours truly, for a film discussion. I will be hosting it at the Mechanics Institute Library here in San Francisco. Well, on Zoom, I'll be doing it. And you can join me and many others in the conversation as we participate in a conversation about the documentary I Am Not Your Negro. It's a documentary directed by Raoul Peck. It was released in 2016, nominated for an Academy Award for Best Documentary Feature in 2017. And the film features James Baldwin and also features the voice of Samuel L. Jackson. It is a highly important documentary that is now available on Netflix. It may be available on PBS Independent Lens, It's been shown on PBS recently. I urge you to watch it if you haven't, whether or not you decide to join me. But if you are interested in joining me tonight, please do register for free right now, free of charge, at M as in Mike, I library.org/events. Scroll down to where you see I am not your Negro and keep scrolling until you find where it says register here. You should be able to see that near the bottom, but you can keep scrolling. Again, the web page address is M as in Mike, I as in Indigo, library.org/events. Join me tonight, Friday, August 7th at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I look forward to seeing you all on Zoom later on tonight. Thank you very much for listening to this edition of The Politicrat. I'm Omar Moore.